Here are some experimental techniques that you can try with the selection tools. Um, so if I have a picture like this, I can duplicate the picture. Control J will duplicate the layer without having to select it and copy and paste it. So I do that often. You can also take the selection tool, select it, or Control A selects it, and then you can copy and paste it to also get a duplicate layer. You can also go up to select and duplicate, or I'm sorry, you go up to layer and you can go to new, or you can go to duplicate layer there as well. But I just want to show you a few things. I can go to image adjustments, and I could make this black and white. And the reason I did it up here and not by adding an adjustment layer is because I wanted to just keep my layers to a minimum and not have lots and lots of layers to deal with. So right now I have a black and white on top of a colored layer, and I can take my selection tools, and this is what I call image slicing. If you go to the selection tool, you can hit backspace after you select something, and I could cut away parts of the picture. And this just has a cool effect. Control D will undo. So you could do like some striping in your picture. Now, if I go and grab an arrow tool, I can actually shift my picture and, have it kind of a duplicated effect that way. You could also, I'm going to show you a few different things here, add an adjustment layer to change the colors. Now, this will add it on a layer above my picture. So I'll show you what I mean there. Let's do gradient. This is kind of a cool technique. You can click on the gradient, and there's different folders with different color gradients. I'm going to hit OK. Hit OK. Well, see, this is covering my picture right now, but I can blend it with my picture by going to these blending modes. So with the adjustment layer, that's kind of cool. Anything that's below the adjustment layer in your layers panel will be affected. That's kind of cool by this gradient. So this essentially is blending the gradient with the layers below it. If I were to move this layer, it would only affect the one below that. So this is called image slicing. I can go back to my layer here. There's all sorts of selection tools. Like you could grab a random image, like selection like that, and hit delete to delete it, or I'm going to undo that. You can also go to your arrow tool and you could like cut it out that way. I'm going to delete that whole thing. I'm going to go back here again, Control J, and duplicate the layer. And I'm going to bring this one above. And so this blue is just sitting over top of the background. One other thing you could do with the selection tool is if you copy and paste, it will take whatever you selected and put it on its own layer. So that could be cool if you decided image adjustment to do some color variation. You could have it on its own layer. Also, when you copy and paste, I can move it around and it doesn't cut away the picture below it. But you could also Control T this area now to transform it and start building up some interesting like collage type techniques. So it's on its own layer though, so you have to recognize that and go to the layer that you want to make adjustments on, like if you go to make color adjustments or something like that. Another thing is when you have something on its own layer, then you're able to use these blending modes and blend it with the layers below. You're also able to double click on the layer. And actually, you have to double click. There you go. And it pops up this layer styles menu, and you can do things like a drop shadow. If you notice, it puts like a little edge around it. There's outer glow. There's all these different effects that you can try with this. So if I go to drop shadow, let's go back there. I click on the word drop shadow. It will allow me to add its noise to my drop shadow. This will bring it out a little from there. And I can play with these things to make drop shadow. So there's all these different things you can do. So you have to click on the box to check it, and then click on the word to like adjust each one. So this is like an outer glow. That's kind of like the opposite of a drop shadow. It's like highlights it.